Congressman, thanks for stepping out to discuss this mega bill with us, which appears to be on track to become law soon. You know, last night posted that President Trump is dragging us into an economic crisis if this big, ugly bill is passed. Are you surprised the bill's headed across the finish line?
No. I mean, the Republicans they're really no longer a political party. They are a cult that follows Donald Trump. And whatever he says, they will do. So it really doesn't surprise me at all that they wound up passing it. But I think Hakeem and Democrats for weeks now have done a good job of explaining exactly what this does. It cuts health care for the American people. It cuts food for the American people. It cuts services. It's going to close hospitals in rural areas all across this country. And for what? To drive up the debt by $3.5 trillion? This is an incredibly irresponsible piece of legislation, and I think Hakeem's doing a good job of explaining that right now.
You and other Democrats have been railing against this bill since it was introduced, and Jeffries has slammed it as toxic. He called it a scam, among other things, but almost all Republicans voted for it in the last round of votes. Only one voted against it. So I keep on coming back to this. If it's so bad for their constituents, why did Republicans want it to pass so badly?
Well, your commentators said because Trump wants it. And they are more afraid of Trump than they are of their own constituents. I mean, I've never seen anything like this.
Why does Trump want it if it's that bad for Americans and for his party?
Oh, gosh, that requires an incredible amount of psychological analysis. I think what Trump wants more than anything is he wants the tax cuts. He wants the tax cuts extended. And then I think he wants to have a tiny nod to fiscal conservatives that he's willing to cut some things, even while he adds $3.5 trillion to the debt. So I think that's the thinking. But more than anything, I think President Trump has gotten to the point where he doesn't think he's ever going to be accountable. I mean, whatever he decides he wants on a given day, he can go get, and the Republicans are going to back him up on it. So I don't think there's a lot of deep policy thought in what the president is proposing. I mean, obviously, he talked throughout the campaign about fiscal responsibility and the debt, and now he's blown it up by $3.5 trillion. Believe it or not, Donald Trump himself has said, don't cut Medicare. In fact, he used the vulgarity when he talked to the House Republican caucus months ago to describe, don't touch Medicaid. And here he is touching Medicaid. So I don't think there's a coherent set of policy thoughts here. I think it's more like his whims from day to day, and then the Republicans just salute and go forward. And this is an incredibly compelling reason for the American people to look for alternatives to this. Forget what positions you support. Do you want to support a group of people who are about one person in a cult more than they are about the good of the American people? No, you shouldn't, regardless. Conservative, independent, liberal, whatever. That's not the way our country is supposed to be run.
So what's your plan now? How can Democrats turn this moment into momentum?
We got to take the case to the American people. Do what Hakeem is doing right now. I did a series of videos this week. I've done a bunch of interviews. Talk about how this is going to hurt the American people. I mean, personally, I am deeply concerned about our government moving towards an authoritarian government under Trump. But oddly, that's a little bit harder case to make to the American people. But you can go to the American people and say your hospital shut down. You didn't get health care. You didn't get food. You can go to the American people and show them how Trump's policies are directly impacting their quality of life in a negative way. Not to mention, again, saddling us with an ever-growing debt. We got to go make the case to the American people 24/7, 365.
You are the ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee. So before I let you go, I want to ask you about another big development this week. As we understand, the president is having a phone call this morning with Russian President Putin, and this comes right after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered a pause on sending missiles and ammunition to Ukraine, according to two defense officials. You have said that this harms U.S. national security. How so?
Yeah, well, it harms U.S. national security because Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea are working together. Right now, that manifests itself most in Ukraine. Iran is helping Russia. North Korea is helping Russia. China is helping Russia. If Russia is successful in Ukraine, it strengthens all four of those countries, all of whom are focused on weakening the United States of America. This is the battle in that fight right now. And Ukraine, incredibly, because of their bravery and their tenacity, is holding off the Russians. If we can help them, we can stop the Russians and push back on this authoritarian drift across the country. To abandon them, is to empower Russia, to empower China, Iran, and North Korea. And it's really that simple. It is all connected. And the Trump administration seems to be not focusing on that. They're saying, well, we can't help Ukraine because we're worried about China. No, we have to help Ukraine because we're worried about China. They are completely missing what is going on here from a national security standpoint.
Congressman Adam Smith of Washington State, thank you very much for being with us.